Our new statement loudspeaker takes its name from an architectural term, hyphen. A hyphen is a connecting building between two architectural pillars. In this instance, it's the M array that sits between two individual speaker cabinets. Hyphen celebrates and bookends Monitor Audio's 50th anniversary year.
Hyphen's an opportunity to do something special, a chance to really look at the physics and take our experience of engineering and designing loudspeakers and to turn it on its head and see how we can do something without the constraints and preconceptions of normal traditional loudspeakers.
We were really clear when we started the Hyphen project that we didn't want to create a speaker that was a wall of drivers and transducers, which is often the case with statement loudspeakers. What we want to do is create a product which blends into the home, which doesn't overpower it. The design was very new. The split cabinet design, the aesthetic of that is very, very pure. But as is often the case with these simplistic pure designs, they're very hard to deliver. I wanted to keep the cabinet open all the way down to the bottom with no structure connecting it. Michael had this idea of creating an array of drivers, and I worked with him and challenged him on how we could put those together and how they work. And we came up with this new and totally unique configuration, the M array, which is this masterpiece of miniaturization. It has the intricacy of a fine watch, and that was the real starting point for the project.
We quickly realised that rather than try and create one big cone that we had to form as part of the acoustic horn for the tweeter, it was much easier to have a flat baffle around the tweeter and form 6 small mid-range drive units around that. It's got many benefits. So one is that those small mid-range drivers, each one has a very wide bandwidth. They run from 200 Hz all the way through to 10 kHz with their breakup above that. Each of the 6 mid-range drivers have a flat cone that perfectly fits flush with the baffle. This means that the wavefront that comes off of the tweeter has a fixed waveguide and then a flat baffle, and so it doesn't couple in the same way as it would if the tweeter was in the middle of a drive unit.
Over the baffle is a grille with our dispersion pattern, but this is an evolution of our normal dispersion pattern where we've got 2 layers, which really highlights some beautiful details.
So the drive units for Hyphen are a complete ground-up design specifically for Hyphen. They've been engineered in a way that means that they deliver more performance than we've ever managed to achieve in a drive unit. There are 4 bass drivers that face inwards. Each pair of bass drivers is force cancelled. This helps with the cabinet construction because now rather than the cabinet having to deal with both vibrational energy from the driver shaking and also the pressure energy from inside the box, it only has to deal with the second, the pressure energy. The best sound stage can be achieved when the sound comes from a single point in space, but also has a consistent directivity pattern around the loudspeaker, so the speaker interacts with the room in the best way possible. So in order to have that point source array, the drivers need to be as compact as possible. That meant, in this case, facing them inwards and force cancelling them made a lot of sense. It could get as close as possible to the M array. So we've engineered a system with port tuning around 25 Hz. This means that we actually end up, from a sound quality point of view, with a speaker that sounds like a sealed loudspeaker all the way down to about 35 Hz, where it then crosses over into a region which is reinforced by the port at the very lowest octaves of the system. It then has an in-room response that goes below 15 Hz. So when you experience music that has thunderous low bass and sub-audible notes, Hyphen really delivers on that impact, just heightening the experience of the whole system. So one of the key elements of a loudspeaker is its crossover. This is the element that makes sure that the right signals are sent to each of the drive units. We spend a long time making sure that the inductors and capacitors and resistors used in the crossover are not only the right values to make the right filters, but that each one of them adds nothing to the sound in its own right. So to that end, we've partnered with ClarityCap to have bespoke custom capacitors designed for us. We've had new inductors that are encapsulated so that the windings can't move in any way, and we built this onto a new crossover assembly that's vibration isolated from the rest of the cabinet.
When you're designing something totally new from the ground up. There's always going to be hurdles. With Hyphen, we're working with an entirely new material for the cabinet, an acrylic stone, which is incredibly rigid, perfect for a product like Hyphen. It's strong, it's thin, so we can make a much smaller cabinet but still have the weight and the rigidity we need. So it's great working with a material like that, but it's complex.
The cabinets are thermoformed from sheet material in 2 C-shaped sections. These are then bonded together and precision machined. This creates a very rigid structure which is perfect for the architectural form of the design.
Hyphen is a blueprint for our commitment to innovate as a brand. We're very passionate about creating the world's best loudspeakers at any price point, and that's what Hyphen is about.
You'll see things in the future that take from Hyphen. You'll see maybe the M-Array being used in a new way, in a new innovative way. You'll see developments in bass driver technology coming through to other speakers. This all just comes together to really push the boundaries of what Monitor Audio is able to do as a loudspeaker company in delivering experiences and making you want to listen again.
Hyphen is about looking forward, not to the past. It's a great achievement getting to 50 years as Monitor Audio, but we want to look to the next 50 years, and Hyphen is the epitome of that statement.